me switch with you, sorry.
Yeah.
Hand in the shot. Okay.
Aaron, what can you get accomplished in this first week, and especially these first couple of days, and just helmets and shorts?
Yeah, well, we got a bunch of new faces, right? You want to see how guys run around, how guys handle the install, right? I think one of the most important things is just, especially the new guys that are here, gel with our guys who are already here. How do they handle how we practice and how we operate and do things? And so you will get a feel, I think, as the week progresses, at least until you put in pads, who runs well, right, who can cover well. You'll get somewhat of an idea about that. Guys up front, it's a little harder for that, just because those guys are banging in the trenches so often. And we're going to be in helmets one day or a couple of days, and then shells a couple of other days. And so I just think as we progress, if we just can show improvement from a coverage standpoint, getting properly aligned, right, communicating, right, just all those fundamental things that don't require, right, for you to have on pads, right. We can just do that right. I think I'll be able to see progression in some of the new faces and the guys that have been here.
In the back end, you got a combination of returning guys, guys coming back from injury, and then some new faces. Mm-hmm. Is that a group ready to have a bounce back season?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think anytime you bring some new energy in here, right, bringing some transfer guys in here, I think it just creates a level of competition, and we all know competition benefits this program, right? The more competition we can have at these positions, right, to where guys don't feel like they've already got the starting job, the better off we're going to be in the long run. And so I think for the most part, we just tried to, in the offseason, we just tried to address areas where we feel like we needed some competition, we needed some depth. And I thought we did a really good job at that. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of these guys compete, especially in the secondary, right? I'm obviously bringing in some new faces back there on the back end.
Where's Terrence Brooks fit in that mix?
Oh, I mean, he's gonna be up there with the Xavier Scotts, with the Caleb Pattersons, with the Chase Canadas. All those guys are gonna have rotate and be given ample opportunity, right? And so it's just a matter of how do they handle what we're giving them, right? And so I think today is gonna be how do they handle the new calls, the new adjustments to the calls, right? Because they're coming from a completely different system, right? And this is our first time doing ball with some of those cats. And so from an athletic standpoint, right, I felt like the guys that we did bring in, I feel like they fit what we do athletically. And so it's just a matter of, right, how do they line up, how do they play, how do they understand how we play defense and leverage standpoints and where their help is, and just going out there and playing football at the end of the day.
What's different?
The increased competition, what gives you confidence that secondary can step forward?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we have a lot of guys with a bunch of career starts and playing time on that back end, right? I think Torrey Cox has over 20 career games started, right? Obviously, Terrence Brooks has over 20 career games started, right? And then you add Xavier Scott, you add Miles Scott, you add Matt Bailey, I feel like we got a plethora of guys now who have seen a lot of football, right? I know Caleb Patterson had a chance to get his feet wet in there last year, right? Chase, obviously, coming in here now, right? Juice Clark, I mean, it's just so many different, Tyler Strain, just so many different positions and guys on the back end who have had winning game reps under their belt. It's just going to benefit us, right? And I'm just very intrigued to see how they handle that going against them, because I think we got a really good wide receiver core. So I'm just really intrigued to see how they handle that going against those guys.
Any difference for you in how you want to attack fall camp in year 2 as a coordinator?
I think the most important thing is, right, between obviously the whole portal windows and the time allotment we have and being able to get some new guys on the staff, right? Like this season can be really long, right? Like college football used to end around early January. I think the national championship game is going to be played on January 20th, right? And so one of the biggest things I'm trying to do is develop depth at all our positions, right? Because here's the reality. We're playing a very, very physical conference, right? Like a guy may be a starter for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and by the time we get to week 8, it's somebody else. And are they prepared for it? Are they ready for it? And so one of the key things in going into this fall camp program is just developing depth, whoever it is, at all of our positions defensively, right? And we feel like we have that at every position, but Some of the guys that could be backing them up, maybe they didn't play as much, right? I feel good about guys we got in here with a bunch of stars, but there's some other guys, right, that maybe hadn't played very much, and we have to develop that depth. Maybe they can become starters. I don't know, but we have to develop depth at each and every position because, as you know, as the season goes on, right, you may lose a guy. A guy could get banged up, and that could alter some of the calls that you make based on that skill set and what that player can do. And so I just think going into this season, right, obviously the goal is always to play well defensively, but I think more important, right, we want to develop depth at all those positions so that we can be competitive at every level.
What do you want to see carry over from spring ball?
Just the competitive nature we had, man. I think that obviously we didn't have some of these faces that we have in our program now, but I thought guys competed. I thought that they got better every single practice. I didn't think there was a regression. I felt like every day, every install, we put something in, right? Guys took it in stride, learned from it. They started to understand concepts, right, on a much, much higher level. You know what I mean? Especially some of the younger guys in the spring. And so I just want to see them take that step every day we walk out onto the field, right? And so if they get beat today on a certain play or a certain look, I don't want that same look to beat them 3 days from now, right? Learning from the mistakes you made or the split that the wide receiver gave you or something that the tackle did, right, if you're a guy up front, right? Learning, obviously, how to play with your hands and getting off blocks, but just like fundamental things, right, that I felt like as practice went on in the spring, we got progressively better at, right? These guys have been training for the last 8 weeks and they had a week off, right? And so there may be some unknowns when guys haven't been playing football and they're coming from a week off, right? I hope that they worked out to some capacity, but we don't know, right? We don't know, right? We got them here in the building, right? Obviously, we're preaching hydration and taking care of your body and all that good stuff, but I just think as we progress into each and every practice, if we can improve at something, right, from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint, right, and as we progress throughout this fall camp, we can get better at that every single day. I think we're going to be pretty good.
3 new coaches on your side of the ball. Is it integrating those guys? Is that something that's behind you from spring ball, or is it a process that continues?
Well, I think anytime you have just new people coming to your building, right, like they go through the mode of understanding how we do things, right? And I mean, all those cats have been phenomenal. They understand this profession. They've been in this profession before. It's a lot different than trying to develop a player who hasn't been in your program. They understand the expectation for the most part walking in the door, right? Coach just does some things different that a lot of other places do. And so, but getting them ingratiated to what we do, it hasn't been a challenge at all. Those guys have been incredible, right? They really protect me, and our staff included, just my blind spots, right? Like Coach Arch may bring up something, right, that helped him along the way in terms of a schematic thing that can help us, right? Coach J-Mo may bring up something that'll be beneficial, right, to start off our meeting with. I mean, those guys add something different, right? Coach Parker said something in our staff meeting that was incredible, right, in regards to speaking for yourself. So all those guys, they got a different flavor, in which I love. They're all different, but yeah, it's so awesome to see us come together and kind of gel this thing, right? We hadn't been in the fire together as a whole, right? But as we, Archie and obviously Clint was here throughout spring, right? But as we kind of progress, right, the goal is continuing to build these relationships. And I will say it is expedited with coaches than it is players, because we're probably spending a little more time together as coaches than the players are.
Aaron, the defensive front gets retooled a little bit, but how much is versatility, flexibility with what you guys do up front is important, and how much do you have in there?
Yeah, it's huge, right? It's huge. Coach, obviously, testament to Coach J-Mo. He's done a tremendous job with those guys up front. But, like a Johnny Newton comes around every, right, 5, 10, 15 years, right? That cat was different, right? He obviously, he elevated the guys around him, and, right, to lose a guy of that caliber, right, we just got to make up for it in other areas. And we believe we have, as a whole, just as talented guys as a whole. And that's why I said earlier, just developing depth at all those positions around the board, right? Briggs has been doing a phenomenal job. T-Raw has had an incredible offseason, right? Alex Bray, just some things that Alex Bray is going to be able to do, right? Between Seth and Gabe, what they're doing on the outside. It's just so many different pieces of guys we know they can play good football. They've had unbelievable off seasons, right? And we're just still trying to like what's going to be the 2024 Illinois defense, right? And so I think the start of that is going to be this evening, right? To see how we fly around, to see how we have success, right? To see how we make plays, right? To see how we take the ball away, right? And so, and just know as coaches, right, we're always trying to get an advantage in some capacity, right? To push our guys over the hump, right? If it's taking the ball away, right? Whether it's making a cut up or having a celebration, right? During the course of a meeting or during practice, right? When a guy takes the ball away, right? But just really highlighting those moments when guys do have success and being able to teach from the moments when they don't.